Let's touch a little bit about on social media here a little bit, because I did want to talk about that a little bit. I looked at your last year's meeting, and you had a lot of stuff, as far as Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of stuff that you utilized last year. That was all good stuff. Was that something that the organization really wanted to do? Is that something that you guys kind of fell upon? How did all that come about?
I think there are, like everywhere, Mike, there's a group of people who are early adopters. There are the Dr. Anonymouses of the world, and then there's people like Ray who are just figuring out what Facebook is, and somewhere in the middle there's truth. But we kind of stumbled into it. Here's what we know. We know that, again, going back to a question you asked me earlier, what is the Academy? What is it that we do? We bring people together. Associations, in their most basic form, bring people of a common interest together. And so if those people that we're bringing together are family docs, well, what better way to bring them together than with some of the technology that now allows us to bring people together without having to put them on an airplane, without having to put them in a car, without having to make them leave their families. I am a social media novice. Next to you, oh great and wise one, I know nothing. I know nothing. But this social media thing is clearly not a fad, and clearly something that is not something that's only for people like my 19-year-old daughter. It's for people who want to engage with other people, and at the risk of doing what the nuns in grade school would have hit me with a ruler for, I'm going to define the word with the same word. It's the best way to socialize ideas. For far too long, ideas and conversations were the purview of the few who were able to be a part of them.
Yes.
And this whole social media revolution now allows everyone to be a part of that discussion, to be a part of the whole that debates and makes decisions. And so about 2 years ago, we decided that, people still come to I think the fear in the world that I work in, Mike, is that if we make the meeting, too social, that people will use social media instead of coming to the meeting. And to be really frank, Michael, the only way the meeting works is if people show up in person.
Right.
Right? So there's always this sort of dilemma. How much do we share? How much do we socialize? And how much do we make people come and get? And I guess at a certain point we kind of looked at each other and we said, you know what? Let's give it all to them. And what turned out to be the truth is that people got involved. People participated in the conversation. And Michael, this may baffle you even more than it baffled me, because you actually studied this stuff, but they participated remotely in some of the clinical educational opportunities.
Right.
We had people participating in clinical sessions remotely, asking questions of the presenter. And when I saw that happen, I think where the light bulb went off for me, Mike, is we had folks that were participating on a Friday afternoon who showed up on a Saturday because they thought, you know what, this is something I have to go see.
Right.
This is something I have to go be a part of live.
Right.
And it crystallized for me that it's not an either or, it's a both.
Right. I mean, it's something that I've seen is that using social media, if you bring the meeting to them,
right,
rather than this, build it and they will come, you just turn it around and say, well, build it and have them come, and they feel like it. They want to say, hey, I want to experience this more in person, because they may see on this little YouTube video or live video, I'm like, oh, that guy, I know that guy. Or that girl,
right,
or I need to talk to them, or I haven't seen them for years. Let's get in the car and go to Atlantic City, and that's probably what you experience as well.
exactly what we experience. And if you just take the word social from social media, we're social beings, and so this social media thing, to me, ultimately when I think about it, it's not a big surprise. We have this need to interact with each other. We have this sort of inbred need to be a part of a greater whole. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a family doc or an associate. I have my own associations that I belong to for people who run associations and manage nonprofits. We have this incredible need to network and associate with other people, and people who are like us, people who are not like us, people who think like we do, and frankly, if we're smart, people who think completely different than we do, because that's what will make us smarter. And I think the value of social media, to me, is that, it really does open up that conversation to a much wider audience. I mean, we're fooling ourselves if we think that we, one day a long time ago had everybody in one room and talk, and now just over time they just have stopped coming. The truth is we never had everybody in the same room.
Right.
But social media gives us the opportunity to have everybody in the same room, to hear everybody's voice. And you know what? That might cause some additional debate. That's
oh yeah,
great.
yeah.
And if people are afraid of that debate, shame on them.
Yeah, yeah, and I see on your site there that there's going to be some live blogging during some of the what you call the more important sessions. Maybe I'm presuming some of the business type sessions, and that's going to be a very interesting discussion.
Absolutely, we do this thing that, again, for those of your listeners who are not familiar with the beautiful thing that is organized medicine. We do this thing in our state called the House of Delegates. Some places call it their Congress of Delegates. Congress may be a better word. House may be a better word. I don't know, but it's that representative government that comes together to lead the organization in a given year. And that group is a wonderful group, and they come together and they do great work. And this year, people who couldn't be there will be able to get online and look at what we're talking about and listen to what we're talking about. If we're lucky and the technology works, they'll even be able to watch what we're talking about sometimes, because we're gonna try to do some streaming video. It'll probably crash and burn, Michael, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh man, man. I wish I could have been there, but because it would have been really fun to be there. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be there online, so I'm virtually gonna be there.
Well, and that's great. And there's a point where I really wanted Dr. Anonymous to come and tell the world how great social media could be for people who do or want to do what we do, which is bring people together. And now I'm thinking, well, Dr. Anonymous can't be there, but maybe he can show us how he can be there virtually. And I think that's a big win too. And maybe I'm just too easily excited, but I'm really kind of energized by the opportunity that's in front of us. I'm energized by the opportunity that's ahead of us for family medicine. I'm energized by the opportunity that's ahead of us in the time that we live in. And, at the risk of sounding really kind of cliche, it really is the only time we get. Here we are, so let's make the best of it. And I think we're blessed in more ways than we sometimes are willing to admit.
Our guest is Ray Saputelli from the New Jersey Academy of Family Physicians.